G'day and welcome to Harry's Big Shed. If you've been here before, you know I take on stuff that really I should leave to the experts. And what have I done now? Well, a few weeks ago I went and bought a 1994 Chevy C3500 Crew cab dually. It's a two-wheel drive 6.5 litre turbo diesel truck that was blowing a lot of smoke and had all sorts of issues and gremlins in it. And I went, well, how much work could it really be? And as you're going to discover as this series goes on, there's a fair amount of work. So at this point in time, I've started on the engine side of things. We're going to get that recode and running right. I've then got to attack the electricals because they're just an absolute mess. If any of you are watching in the US, this truck will appear to be somewhat different to what you're used to seeing, primarily because the steering wheel is on the wrong side of the vehicle. The way that happens, these were actually never built in right-hand drive configuration. Every one of them that has been brought into the country has basically been chopped up and hacked by whoever got their hands on it and then ticked off by an engineer. So we're going to take you through step by step what we're doing with the truck. As I say, it's a war that needs to be fought on two fronts at this stage. The plan is, I'm not really interested in making it look all that pretty. We want to build it so that it's reliable and safe to put back on the road, get it registered and drive it around and enjoy it for a while before we even consider making it pretty. So if you haven't as yet, really appreciate if you smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell, and that way you'll know whenever I do upload anything, because I'm not one of those set you watch by type of YouTubers. I'm really sorry, in all the excitement of getting started working on this truck, we didn't actually record the intro before you got to see what it looked like. Fortunately though, Abe managed to take a lot of B-roll footage and we'll work that in for you to see as we go along. And as always, if you've got any comments, any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So let's get going on getting this thing going. I go through a lot of zip-tied bags when I'm doing this sort of work, because that way I don't have to remember where things go. Just quickly label them. They're as cheap as chips, and yeah, this way every part of the project is broken down and you never lose stuff. It takes you an extra few minutes over the course of the whole job, but it's certainly worth your while. Well, if nothing else, I'm learning how the front of these OBS trucks goes together, aren't I? So I've finally liberated the rad support from the front of the truck. As you can see, what a mission. What a mission. It makes it really hard when you're working on a vehicle that you just have never worked on before, and there aren't too many experts locally that I can ask about them. Like even Max, who knows his way around all sorts of vehicles, he's never played around with these before, so in that respect he can't be too much help in how they go together, but that's done. Hopefully next time engine and transmission will come out. Obviously there's still a lot of work to do. Fuel lines have to come out. There's this aftermarket transmission cooler that originally the transmission lines you can see up here would have run into the side of the radiator, and someone's just decided, oh, let's just run some hose, and there is freaking miles of the stuff. So that might be something I look at improving as we go along, just to neaten things up. You know, exhaust has to come off, fuel lines, tail shaft has to come out, disconnect the gear linkage. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. This is only the first part of my C3500 diesel dually journey. You know, the steering needs to be looked at. I've got to go all the way through the brakes. I've got to look at the fuel system itself. Why is the lift pump not working at all? Do I do an upgrade on it now? I've been reading and seeing a modification called Feed the Beast, which allows more fuel to get to the injector pump. I'm pretty sure I've got a bit of play in the shaft on the turbo. Being in Australia, I don't know whether I'm just going to rebuild what I've got and live with it and be happy with it, or whether I'm going to do some sort of upgrade. One thing I'd really like to do, because I've found it makes a huge difference on my Nissan Patrol, is to put an intercooler between the turbo and the engine, because the cooler you can make the air going into the engine, the more power it makes. But still, a lot of learning to do with PMDs, with aftermarket chips and all that sort of stuff, and I'm still yet to determine as to whether I'm going to go down that path. As I say, at this stage, it's a matter of fixing the engine itself, so I'm going to go all the way through it. We're going to crack it open, have a look at the heads, have a look at the pistons, put all new head gaskets through it, rear main seals, you know, whatever it needs, without actually doing a bottom end rebuild on the block itself. The truck's done 273,000 Ks, which works out to approximately 150,000 miles. So it's really not that far. You know, I've had vehicles that have lasted much longer than that. As I said at the start of all this, if you want a vehicle that goes really fast, GM have so many other things available. I drive effectively the Aussie equivalent of the Pontiac G8 with the 6-litre in it. You know, there's all sorts of stuff you can get to go fast and handle well. This is a truck. There's no getting around it. So again, I cannot express my appreciation. I'm stunned, shocked and amazed that some of my videos have had the number of views that they've had, even though it has been over a period of 12, 18 months, whatever it is. And yeah, I really hope you find what I do useful. And yeah, feel free, send in a comment. I do check the comment section from time to time. I do generally try to reply back. And yeah, just because this one's being done in Australia doesn't mean that anybody anywhere else in the world can't apply what I'm doing here. So thank you very much for joining me in my big shed, and hopefully we'll see you next time.